He's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers to all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you.
What's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
Okay, first up, ticks are well known for carrying different diseases and illnesses. Researchers have known about this particular illness that I'm going to talk about for many years now. The illness is called alpha-gal syndrome, and it's a type of syndrome. If you get alpha-gal syndrome, you get an allergy to red meats, beef, pork, dairy, that kind of stuff. Now, researchers have known that you can get it from ticks. The thing that is making this a news story right now is, just like many other illnesses, they expected that this particular illness was that the ticks were getting it from someplace else and passing it on to humans. The researchers have found that the illness is coming from the ticks themselves. The allergy is coming from the tick saliva. The saliva, and this is the Lone Star tick. It's prevalent in the east and the southeast, so we are within the range of having the tick here, and we could get it here. But again, the big news about this is they figured out that it's the saliva of the tick that is causing the illness, not just that it's getting it from someplace else. Questions?
No, I'm just taking notes.
I do.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Question for you. Is there a cure for this?
No,
Good question.
there's no specific cure. It does go away,
Okay.
but it could take between hours to years for it to develop in a person.
Okay.
So from the time you get the tick bite, it may be like a few days to maybe a year or two before you actually start suffering the
Okay.
effects. And then it could be a few years after you've suffered the effects that it goes away and it starts to wind down. And the intensity will vary from person to person, just like any kind of allergic reaction, from difficulty breathing, hypersensitivity, to anaphylactic shock.
Okay.
So for people who do suffer the extreme form of it, you could die from eating red meat like beef or pork.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Is that
That's not common, but because every Lone Star tick is capable of passing it, then it means that it is more likely to come about. An individual tick bite is probably not going to cause it, but there's a greater chance than they thought because it is from the tick and not from the tick doesn't get from the environment.
How many people have this, they know, roughly?
The numbers I have here are definitely not very good. They originally thought it was like 30,000, but they're now talking like about, could be up to like 300,000.
what does this tick look like for the average person out there to see if they might
Well, it's
actually
going to be a
have
tick,
it?
but it's a dark colored tick with a white spot in the center of its back.
Okay, so about how big is it?
It's tick size. And they're very small.
Small.
They're going to
tiny.
they're going to be tiny. They're going to be smaller than most pinheads.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, something like the
But-
size of a deer tick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But bigger than...
Okay.
Brum-pum. Yeah, I'm going to have to edit that political commentary out of the video.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I don't get it. So.
Nah, never mind. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
So, next story is about the Viceroy butterfly. Viceroy butterfly. The Viceroy butterfly is a mimic butterfly, and what that means is it looks just like another butterfly in its environment. It looks just like the queen butterfly. The difference is that the queen butterfly tastes awful to insects that may eat it, while the Viceroy butterfly doesn't. So insects would prefer to eat the Viceroy butterfly, but because they can't tell them apart, they don't go after it. This type of mimicry is called Batesian mimicry. And the theory behind that mimicry is that you're not going to see the Viceroy butterfly outside of the environment where the queen butterfly lives. The reason is that if it goes outside of the breeding areas of the queen butterfly, then the potential predators of that butterfly don't know that it tastes bad and will go ahead and eat it. And so in theory, it's going to keep the Viceroy butterfly from spreading away from the queen butterfly. But what they have found, and this took about 15 to 20 years for the researchers to study this out and figure it out, that Viceroy butterfly that are not living near queen butterflies in different parts of Florida, those butterflies have developed a bad taste. So if the butterflies are living with the queen butterflies, those taste good to target insects. It's the queen butterflies that taste bad and they're mimicking them. But the Viceroy butterflies that do not live near queen butterflies have developed a bad taste. And so if they're living outside of that region, they're actually more populous outside of the region where they're mimicking the queen butterfly, because those particular, and it's the same butterfly. It's just that the ones that live near the butterfly they're mimicking taste good. The ones that don't live near the butterfly they're mimicking taste bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It almost leads me to believe that there was some sort of genetic either intertwining with the two, or
selective
selective.
Well, it's of course it's selective breeding, because what happens is the ones that are living outside the area are starting to diverge from the ones that are inside. But the two different butterflies are genetically different enough that the researchers can tell them apart. Mm-hmm. The ones that are living outside of that range may be starting to separate out.
Okay.
All right.
Good answers to my questions.
Well, this is Alex's Science Corner.
Obviously, Alex is the know-it-all of all science here at WXCI.
Yeah, well, I'm right now keeping a good company for me to keep that title.
All right. Anything further to add, Alex?
No, that's it for the two stories. And no other questions about them?
Right. No. Hey, if you'd like to call and complain, or if you have any questions about these stories or anything else science-related, feel free to call us right now at 203-837-9924.